calling this press conference today to discuss the past 36 or so hours wherein we've had two what I'm calling negligent releases, for lack of a better term, from the Bexar County Jail. Totally inexcusable in my estimation, and I'm here to provide some background and answer whatever questions you all might have. As you all know, yesterday morning we had the first negligent release from the jail, which was a suspect that was here on a drug charge and had been released out into the streets. I'm sorry, it was a DWI charge, misdemeanor, nonviolent. After a couple of hours of searching, one of our sergeants from CID was able to place that suspect into custody just a few blocks from here and bring him in. Later on in the day, we had another negligent release, a case of mistaken identity where a female was walked out of the location of the jail on a nonviolent narcotics violation. After several hours of searching, she was also located and brought back into custody. I would be more than happy to answer whatever questions you might have.
Has it occurred to you at some point you're going to accidentally release somebody who's not going to be across the street from the jail and is going to go out and maybe do something to the community?
Quite frankly, that's something that I lose sleep over. That has occurred to me on more than one occasion, and that's why we're working very hard to make sure that we're rectifying the situation. Let me just be clear on something, Dylan. We've passed all the policies that we could possibly pass. We've written policies. Some of these policies myself, I've written them myself. We've implemented training, expanded training. We've implemented new rules where two supervisors have to sign off on each and every release before somebody's allowed to walk from this facility. Two supervisors have to sign on the dotted line. And to be quite frank, that's what's been occurring. The people that are making these errors, that are costing us these errors through negligence, have been seasoned supervisors. These are not new deputies. These are seasoned supervisors that are committing these errors. Now, is it done out of malice? I can't say that at this point. What we can say is that it's negligence, but I can tell you negligence or malice yields the same result. It places a lot of negative light on this agency that we just don't need.
Have you been made aware of Judge Wolf's comments about you specifically and his sharp criticism a couple of hours ago?
Yes, sir. Judge Wolf and I have had a couple of phone conversations, one prior to his interview and one after his interview, and we spoke about that.
Him telling you need to get it together, is that something that he told you?
I think he's right. We need to get it together here at the Sheriff's Office.
He said you specifically.
And that's absolutely the case. Look, Dylan, while I wouldn't pretend that I created these issues, they're mine to fix now, and I can tell you I'm working day and night to fix those.
What about the fact that he suggested hiring a professional jail administrator? Is that something you're considering?
Well, I have a professional jail administrator. I've got a jail administrator right now in Deputy Chief Avery Walker. That is a person that has been with this agency for over 30 years. One of the highest ranking African-American deputies to rise through the ranks. He clawed his way up to the top of this agency. In the process, earning a bachelor's degree from Texas A&M San Antonio. Also in the process, and ever since we promoted him to the rank of deputy chief and put him in charge of the jail, went through and in addition to working 60 to 80 hours a week in this facility, took the test and successfully passed it with 100%, I might add, to get his certification as a professional jail administrator. He is a professional jail administrator. Now, with that being said, I am certainly looking to expand my jail administration staff. Does that mean I want to fire Chief Walker? No, absolutely not. He is not somebody that I'm considering firing at all. Certainly, he's completely qualified, and I would put his qualifications up against anyone else. As a matter of fact, we did a national search wherein he ended up emerging as the top candidate of that national search. While there were people that came in here that had a background in for-profit prisons or working at a state prison in another state, or even running military prisons, that's not the same thing. Being the most qualified for-profit prison warden from another state does not necessarily make you qualified to run a jail in San Antonio, Texas.
Is there anyone that you are considering firing?
No, at this point, no. I had a meeting with my command staff this morning about our steps moving forward. Quite frankly, all of my command staff will be spending quite a bit of time in booking. Now, we've got to go through some processes to allow that to happen. They've got to have some certifications under their belt as well. Some of them have really never worked in a jail. And I'll give you a perfect example. Deputy Chief Nancy Sanford, 31 years in the DEA. She spent almost the past 3 years as my chief in CID, has never really worked in a jail. However, being that she is what we call a star, she's a deputy chief, it is her responsibility to help me run this agency in whatever that takes. And so she's going to have to take some classes to allow her to spend some time in booking. However, I am asking all of my command staff to spend some time in booking, overseeing operations on a day-to-day basis.
You're transparent about what is happening, but we have not gotten answers on why this continues to happen. In their statements, Internal Affairs is investigating.
Sure.
What are the results of those investigations? What is coming up?
Well, certainly we're looking at those, Dylan, and I think that you'd be hard-pressed to say that when I have answers to something, you don't automatically get those answers. I absolutely am transparent with all of these. Now, am I ready to condemn people and fire them and suspend them, for lengthy suspensions? We're not there yet. We're not there yet. We have a due process that we have to respect. And, these folks aren't going anywhere. Right now, we had 3 sergeants that were involved in yesterday's 2 releases, 2 negligent releases, and those 3 sergeants are out on administrative leave right now. Are they in fear for their career? Absolutely they are. That point is not lost on me. And they know that my stance on this is a tough one. They know that I'm not afraid to terminate or suspend or even arrest one of my own folks if it comes down to that. It's not something that I love doing about my job, but it's something I'll do without a hesitation if I'm called upon. So yeah, these folks are definitely worried for their career right now. That point is not lost on me. So while I know I have to move with some purpose through these investigations, I can't rush them either. I've got to make sure that we're going by the numbers and we're looking at every possible angle. You and I had a conversation a few weeks ago where I talked about the fact that, are we ruling out that some of these were done on purpose? No, we're not ruling that out. I'm not prepared to start pointing the finger and accusing people of doing that, but I'm certainly not ruling it out. We're asking questions now that maybe in years past or even months past, those questions weren't asked. But now we have to ask, did you do this on purpose or did you not?
So you said that you're going by the numbers, and by our count, this is number 13. When does it become, apparent why this is happening?
Well, after the first one, to be quite honest with you, this is not something that we enjoy.
13.
Well, yes, ma'am. You made that point abundantly clear, and that's not something that I enjoy. One is too many, but is it something that never happens in a facility like this? No. You have to minimize it. You have to mitigate the circumstances that lend themselves to that. You've got to hold people accountable. We've done all of that. And now it's a matter of holding people accountable. That on this latest couple, we're holding people accountable. We fully intend to.
What happens when you discover that an inmate has been erroneously released? I mean, we can hear the scanner traffic, and it sounds like a lot of deputies are being pulled off of their assignments to go and scour the neighborhoods looking for these people.
Well, yes, and what we're using is people from our fugitive apprehension unit, our FAU team. That's their specialty. There's folks behind a computer screen looking up, doing research, and then there's folks that are trained hunters, for lack of a better term. They're out looking for people. That's their job. That's their forte. And so that's who we have doing it. Quite frankly, I've found myself out in the field personally looking for some of these folks. Here a few weeks ago, there was one, it happened on a Saturday, Labor Day weekend. Would have cost me a whole lot of money to bring people in to go hunt this person down. I did it myself. My intention was to locate him and then call for cover if that were the case. I found him at some point during the day. I didn't have time to call for cover. I took him into custody myself. It's just something that we do in our profession. We're prepared to do it. That's part of our job whenever it comes to be necessary, and we do it.
The erroneous release, negligent release that occurred not today, but yesterday morning. This man had several arrests for robbery, theft, assault, burglary, and the public wasn't notified for several hours, and he was left to his own devices.
Well, because here's the thing. He didn't know that his release was due to negligence. He thought he was legitimately out. And so to us, when you put that information out, that's what makes somebody act out of desperation. That's what makes somebody dangerous. In this instance, we found him strolling down the street like he was heading to run some personal errands. and we were able to take him into custody, without incident at that point.
Moving Jansen into an administrative role, Captain Jansen, what was behind that decision making? You're leaving Walker, you're keeping him there in some kind of, we're just trying to figure out what's going on the outside. Why not make a change?
Well, there's right now there's no change to be made. I mean, he's running the jail. He's a professional jail administrator.
But he's not doing a very good job.
Well, that's your opinion, Dylan.
County leaders are now saying he's not the right guy.
And I understand that, and I wouldn't pretend to know the job of other county elected officials, and I'd certainly appreciate the latitude to do my own job and to appoint those that I see are qualified. Right now, Chief Walker is the most qualified for this gig. Now, what I can tell you is we're always accepting applications. We're always accepting resumes. If somebody wants to put in, and I'm telling you right now, I have every intention of adding to my jail administration staff. I'd certainly love to see anybody's application that wants to send it over, but I'm going to ask that they have county jail experience, preferably in the state of Texas, and we'll go from there.
¿Qué nos puede decir acerca de estas liberaciones que usted cataloga como negligencia?
Porque simplemente es negligencia. Y el problema con estos casos, la mayoría de los casos, es que estos no son oficiales nuevos, sino que son oficiales que tienen rango, son supervisores que están cometiendo estos errores. Entonces nosotros tenemos que fijarnos en cada caso. Es algo que se puede arreglar con disciplina, es algo que se puede arreglar con entrenamiento, es algo que se puede enderezar con nuevas pólizas. Nos tenemos que fijar en cada caso y es lo que estamos haciendo.
Hay personas que viven cerca de aquí y les preocupa que alguien peligroso salga a las calles.
Sí, ¿cómo no?
¿Qué le quiere decir usted?
Es algo que también a mí me preocupa. Por eso, cuando nos llega estos incidentes, nosotros hacemos todo lo necesario para arrestar a esas personas y es algo que hemos logrado hacer 100% del tiempo.
Sheriff, could you talk about how many openings of deputies you have here at the jail, talk about morale in general, and is pay an issue?
Pay is absolutely an issue, and I was happy to hear Judge Wolf agree with me in that respect, that we need to be paying these folks more money. I said it quite animatedly in Commissioner's Court a few months ago when I submitted my letter that became public, when I submitted my letter to the county manager, David Smith, declining my own pay raise. I made mention of it there, and I didn't beat around the bush. I made it very clear that my number one priority is making sure that my deputies, we're able to pay them a decent wage that's competitive with other agencies in this area, because the last thing that I want to do is be a training ground for the other agencies that can afford to pay them more.
¿Esta situación lo pone usted en problemas?
¿Mande?
¿Esta situación lo pone usted en problemas?
Esta situación me da pendiente que va a seguir pasando si nosotros no hacemos algo. Entonces, por eso estamos haciendo algo. Estamos haciendo todo lo necesario. Estamos pasando nuevas pólizas cada vez que algo pasa. Nosotros nos estamos fijando y ahora vamos a empezar a poner jefes con mucho rango en esta operación.
¿Qué dice de las críticas del juez Wolf? ¿Qué le dice usted acerca de esas críticas?
No, yo le digo al juez Wolf, y él ya lo sabe, que yo estoy haciendo todo lo posible para trabajar con lo que nosotros tenemos. Yo ya sé la opinión del juez en lo que él quisiera, y yo sí les estoy diciendo a todos que quisiera darles trabajo a otros jefes dentro de la cárcel. Ahorita estoy poniendo esas noticias que si hay alguien que nos quiera mandar una aplicación, con mucho gusto los puedo leer.
¿Qué cambios está dispuesto a hacer usted? ¿Despedir el administrador de la cárcel? ¿Contratar a alguien nuevo? ¿Cuáles son las posibilidades?
Estos ahorita, por ahorita, se aparenta que son incidentes de negligencia de sargentos que están trabajando en esta operación. Para mí, cambiar de jefe no va a enderezar nada.
¿Usted cree que se trata de alguien que lo quiera sabotear?
Pues ahorita no estoy dispuesto a decir eso, que esta persona me hizo esto a propósito, pero estamos dispuestos para decir que vamos a investigar eso.
¿Que lo ha pensado?
Sí, obviamente es algo que en cada caso que pasa, nosotros hacemos esas preguntas. En años anteriores esas preguntas no se hacían, pero ahora sí. Hang on a second, Dylan. Ahora cuando se toca de una investigación así, nosotros hacemos esas preguntas.
Porque no
Wolf is under under the impression that you're going to start a nationwide search for, in his words, a professional jail administrator as soon as today. Is that not going to happen? It doesn't sound like it is.
We're opening it up nationally, sure.
So you are opening a national
absolutely. We're looking to hire more administrators in our jail.
A professional jail administrator specifically.
Yes, sir. We are. We're looking to bring people in. I have a professional jail administrator.
He does not think you do.
Well, I'd be happy to sit down and discuss that with Judge Wolf. I am opening to hiring more people into the jail. Am I looking to end Chief Walker's long and
he wants to move him within the organization.
Okay, no, he didn't say that either. He just said, well, that's not what. Okay, well, I'm not interested in moving him within the organization.
Okay.
But what I can tell you is I'm looking to hire more jail staff. That's for certain. I do have a professional jail administrator. Some reference was made to a previous jail administrator that worked here before. I'd like to make it clear that what was here before was someone with a background in for-profit prisons from another state, from Florida to be exact. That's not something that interests me. I had the opportunity to interview such folks for this job. For-profit prisons, for-profit jails have no place in the Bexar County Jail. I find that practice morally repugnant, in fact. I bristle at the thought of privatizing this Bexar County Jail. Anytime that you have an entire industry, that makes it a point and draws their bottom line on how many people they can keep incarcerated in this building and increase their profits by feeding them a little bit less or giving them just a little bit less care to increase their profit margins, that's morally repugnant to me, and there's no way that you could sell me on that. As long as I'm here, you will never see a for-profit operation brought into the Bexar County Jail.
Do you have your jail administrator certification?
I don't.
Do you take command staff training through TCOL or anything
Yes.
like that? You have?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How long has Avery had his jail administrator license?
He just received it this past August. When he was promoted to the rank of deputy chief in March, he began those classes, and quite frankly, it was no easy feat. I mean, he did a good job. As I mentioned, the man works a lot of hours. When I come to work in the morning, he's typically here, and when I leave in the evening, he's typically still here. He puts in the hours, and during that time, he managed to complete this course and get the certification. Now, with that being said, the chief that I just promoted last week, Joel Jensen, he's in the process of getting that same certification. He should be completing that test within the next day or two. A test that I might add has to be passed with 100% to be acceptable. Avery Walker already did it. Joel Jensen will be doing it next, and several of my captains that work under them have already obtained that certification as well.
Will you?
Will I? I don't have a need to at this point. I certainly wouldn't mind. I'm not averse to it, but I don't think there's anybody here that can argue that I don't work a whole lot of hours as it is, day in and day out. I certainly live in this uniform. I've been accused of sleeping in this uniform, and so I don't know that I have the time to take another course. I'm not opposed to it, but at this point I have no plans to.
Sergeant Flores, is she the same one that was your liaison for the gay and lesbian community? We're talking about the same.
She is
someone that has been considered as part of your inner circle.
She is still the liaison to the LGBT community. At this point, nothing's been proven. She is out on administrative leave right now because of what occurred yesterday. But again, I'm not ready to condemn anybody that was found to be involved in those incidents yesterday.
Was it difficult to even put her on leave based on the relationship that you have?
Look, it's difficult to put anybody on leave. That's a tough decision to make, to see somebody's face when you tell them you're going to leave here for 10 days and we need your credentials and you're not allowed to identify yourself as a member of this agency. You're not allowed to wear this uniform. You're not allowed to take any actions. Now, please leave the building. That's a difficult question, or that's a difficult statement to make to anybody. It's something that I do when it's necessary, but it's never something that I relish.
Is the jail in compliance? Is the jail currently in compliance?
The jail is currently out of compliance. But however, last night, as I was driving around looking for a fugitive with water up to the running boards on my SUV, I might add, I placed a call to our jail inspector and requested a meeting today. She is attending to some personal business here in San Antonio right now as we speak, and she should be arriving at the jail here in a little while to meet up with myself and my command staff. We want to get some clarification as we continue to work with her and with TCJS in reobtaining that certification.
Now, how concerned are you and how concerned
concern should the public be that someone's going to be mistakenly released in the future that's, you know, here on murder charges or something extremely violent?
That's certainly always a cause for concern. That's why we have to be completely careful with what we're doing, and the level of carelessness that seems to be apparent in at least some of these cases, it's taken serious.
What kind of charges would it take to alert the public that this individual has been mistakenly released?
Well, it's not necessarily the level of charges. It's trying to maintain the element of surprise with this person that at this point they don't know that they're on the run. And so we don't want to drive them further underground or give them a sense of desperation where they might become dangerous. And so we play each case by ear. We figure, we do some thinking early on is what does this person know? What is their mindset? And where are they likely to go? And then we put ourselves at those likely spots. And so far, we've been at 100%. We've been able to recapture these people. Again, I've done some of them personally, by myself. So it's not a job that we enjoy doing. It's certainly something that should never happen. It should never be allowed to happen. And it's not allowed to happen. When it does, we take it seriously and we handle each case appropriately as it goes.
Algo así, ¿qué va a hacer usted para corregir los errores?
Ya hemos hecho muchas cosas para corregir estos errores. Lo que nosotros hacemos es escribimos nuevas pólizas, mejoramos nuestro entrenamiento, ponemos más entrenamiento y ahora hemos puesto más supervisores en esta área para asegurar que ellos están firmando y fijándose en todas las formas antes de soltar a alguien de la facilidad. Entonces nosotros estamos haciendo todo lo posible y vamos a seguir haciéndolo.
Y usted ya había hecho eso, ¿no? Que pasan por varios filtros, 3 firmas en ocasiones.
Sí.
¿Por qué no funcionó?
Bueno, es que estas personas se aparenta, ya lo ha dicho, que es negligencia. Es lo que se aparenta. Y nosotros, si se encuentra que alguien tiene que enfrentarse con disciplina, lo van a hacer.
Ya para acabar, ¿cuál es el mensaje que le quiere enviar al resto de sus empleados? Algo fuerte para que esto no se vuelva a repetir.
Simplemente a todos mis empleados es que estoy aquí dispuesto a apoyarlos en su trabajo. Voy a darles todo el entrenamiento y educación y las herramientas que ellos necesitan para hacer su trabajo bien. Y si por chance llegan a cometer un error, nosotros vamos a fijar con nuestros investigadores de asuntos internos si es algo que fue hecho a propósito o si es algo que se podía evitar, y si es algo que tenemos que corregir, lo vamos a hacer. Thank you guys, appreciate it.